Advent has become a kind of countdown to Christmas, a time of calendars and candles that breaks up the darkest time of the year and builds anticipation for the birth of Jesus Christ. While these rituals are comforting and not without significance, we are in many ways robbed of the true experience of Advent by knowing already how the story of salvation will be incarnated. To live Advent in its truly radical hopefulness, we need to let lapse what we know and allow ourselves to become trusting, despite all the darkness and doubt around us, of the mystery still unfolding by God's coming. One of the ways of rethinking Advent is to rethink the Beatitudes from Matthew's Gospel. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus enunciated a completely countercultural set of blessings, which, like Advent, hinge on the promise of God's love and fidelity. Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI wrote that the Beatitudes provide us with a glimpse of the interior life of Jesus. This means that the qualities conveyed by the Beatitudes reveal aspects of the divine nature. In fact, as we will see, the imprint of God's Beatitudes permeate the scriptures and gave hope through the prophets and the Psalms to the Hebrews who for long centuries ached for the Messiah. Pope Francis has called the Beatitudes our Christian identity card. As a lifelong Catholic, I've tried to contemplate the Beatitudes in my own choices, especially regarding my work in business and while teaching ethics. While leading Bible studies at my local parish, this investigation into the Beatitudes became much more systematic as a way to pray and evaluate spiritual growth, and also to give practical depth to the principles of Catholic social teaching. There are many wonderful books on the Beatitudes and countless homilies and reflections written by our saints and theologians. How will this study be different? Most approaches delve, as they should, into the meaning and implication of each Beatitude. The Desert Fathers called them a ladder. St. Augustine perceived them as stages leading one after another to a higher plane. With this series, entitled Holding Fast to the Blessings Promised, I aim for a more integral study, a different way of considering this essential teaching as a unity from Jesus to probe the nature of God and the terms by which God is seen and served. The first week is called Awaiting God's Blessings with Radical Hope, a message of promise and beatitude that speaks to the biblical reality leading up to the Gospels, as well as to the many unknowns of our own time. The second week moves into the story of the Nativity, allowing us to recognize the explicit principles of the Beatitudes that are embedded in Mary's poignant Magnificat and in Joseph's audacious response to his 4 dreams. The family that raised Jesus, that formed him, practiced the Beatitudes he later taught. For being a promise from God, the Beatitudes are lived in grace. The third session turns the Beatitudes towards the sacraments that are the wellspring for this grace. Most readily, the sacrament of repentance and the sacrament of the Eucharist. Learning to pray the Beatitudes in this way provides both an examen and an exaltation, deepening the experience of confession and communion. On the cusp of Christmas, the fourth week will focus on the implementation of the Beatitudes as the most sincere and effective imitation of Jesus. At this time, with the divisions and crises in our world, the Beatitudes are not only essential for our coherence as disciples, they are also the very gifts our society yearns for, to relearn civility, reaffirm dignity, and create possibilities of shared hope.